Hi everyone, Danielle here. I'm doing a tutorial for my little Everdell for the solo mode. So I have this all set up and ready to go, but I will discuss some of the components. I have the rulebook right here, and the components will be listed on the second page as soon as you open it. So, just to point out, this did come with 4 supply crates. You do have to put them together. I did find them a little difficult to put it together, but maybe it's just me, and the cardboard itself would kind of like bending a little bit, but it looks perfectly fine right now after you put it together. We have the point tokens. The point of this game will be to get as many points as you can. We have your resin, twigs, and berries. So the resin, twigs, and berries will be used to gain cards throughout the game. And these cards here are basically some sort of market for you to spend your resources, gain these cards, and hopefully build some sort of engine to gain you more resources or more points. So an example is this juggler. This juggler is a critter. You can see here on the top left, that icon. And it requires 3 berries for you to actually gain this card into your tableau. This card will be worth 1 point at the end of the game. And it says, after you get a parade, get 2 point coins. So you're going to want to get this before you start getting a parade, so that you get 2 points every time. So to go over what parades are, you'll notice these little tokens here. So there's a goal that you'll want to meet, and then the points that you'll get after you meet them. And those are listed on page 11 under parades. So you'll see that the first one listed, you'll need 5 places. So you need 5 cards with that specific icon on the top left. The 5 critters will require you to have 5 critters with that specific icon on the top left. And the first person to gain it will get the token or the parade of the highest value. The third parade would be getting at least one of each colored symbol. So the colored symbol is located here, next to the name of the card. So if you were able to get one of each colored symbol, you'd be able to gain this parade card. And the final type of parade is this one. So this says 3 cards of the same color, except the green one. So you'll want to just keep track at the end of every turn of how your tableau is looking. If you actually meet any of these criteria, you immediately will be grabbing one of these parade tokens. So basically, it says, as soon as you meet the listed requirements on any of the parades, take the highest value parade token remaining on the board. You may only achieve each parade once. In a solo mode, the Princess Periwinkle is the one I'm going to be playing with during this how to play video. Princess Periwinkle will be able to gain one of these tokens if her tableau ends up meeting that criteria first. So she actually would not be gaining these parade tokens immediately though. She only gains it at the end of the entire round. So that is something to note. And a round consists of 12 turns. So we'll each get 12 chances to gain as many things as we could to meet the criteria of these parades. All right. So to explain this is the sun token. It is the first player token. Although there really is no purpose of it for a solo mode, the player will always go first in a solo mode. We do have a moon here, and it will track the rounds. So these are the rounds. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds. And the moon is just going to move across to let us know when the round is over. You'll see we each are set up with 3 friends. That's what they call it in the rule book. And I have butterflies, and I have to see what these are. Yeah, these are foxes. So I decided to give the AI, or the Princess Periwinkle, 3 foxes. We each will also get a home board. Just to conserve space, I did put them sideways, although obviously it might look better aesthetically to put it this way. But just for purposes of explaining everything, I'll be putting it like this. And the solo mode requires this D8, which Princess Periwinkle will be rolling on each of their turns to determine which of the market cards it will be making unavailable to me. There are a total of 54 main deck cards. You do lay 8 of them out when you start the game after you shuffle, so I just have the deck waiting here to refill the market deck. There is an option if you wanted to. I don't believe you would include them in a solo mode, but there are 4 captain cards and 4 fort cards that you could use for kids. So for whatever reason, your kid wants to play, maybe play the solo mode, it might be useful to use the 4 captain cards and 4 fort cards. Obviously just one of each for the solo mode. Alright, so I think we'll probably get started with 1 round of play, just so that you get a gist of how to play. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and I'll be, I'll try my best to answer it. Okay, so you'll notice that there are 2 dice. It doesn't really matter where you place them. They just have to go on 2 of these spots of the board. When you start your round, the active player would roll the dice. That would always be me. Princess Periwinkle will not be able to roll dice on their own. So I'll start the round by rolling the dice. Okay, so it landed on 2 berries, and I think this is like 2 of anything, really. So these are like 2 of any resource of my choice. I could choose a berry, a twig, or a resin. So I'll place them on the squares, and we'll be able to place our friend on one of these spots to gain a resource. So now we get to gather goodies, and gathering goodies would be looking at any of your cards in your tableau that has this green icon. So you'll want to read what those goodies are, and then you'll gain it. So definitely pay attention to what you have there. And just reading off of the rule book, it says each player activates all of the green cards they have already played beside their home boards in any order they choose. So you get to decide what is the optimal order for you to gain your goodies. So that's really helpful. Obviously, none of us have cards, so we will not be doing the gather goodies step. And now we'll just do the take turns of the round. So during each round, you start with the player who has the sun token, and that is me. As the human player, I will go first. And I will place one of my friends onto a location on the board and perform that action. And then I'll be able to play a card from below the board into my tableau. And then if I were to qualify to gain any parade tokens, I would. So let's take a look at what cards I might be interested in getting, so that I know where I should put my friend to gain the resources I might need to play the card that's in this area. So I think I'll focus on, since there are so many critters out, I'll focus on getting as many critters as I can. This way I could possibly get this parade token. So I think I'll try my best to get as much berries as I can, because then I could get a juggler or a queen, because a lot of these require berries, as you can see. The critters all require berries. So I think it's in my best interest to put my friend here. And as you can see, there's only one footprint here, which means only one worker can be there at a time. Whereas on these spaces, you see multiple footprints. You can place as many workers as you'd like on these spaces and gain one of the corresponding resources. But since this gets me 2, I will place my worker here, and I will gain 2 berries. I'll just place them on my board. Okay, so I do have the ability to pick up sweep or shopkeeper or postal pigeon or farmer and fort builder. So I have a lot of options to pick right now. I think I will play I think I'll play for the farmer. So I'll spend 1 of these berries and I'll gain a farmer. Place it right here. So in the gain goodies phase, I'll be able to gain a berry. And that will happen at the beginning of every round. So now that we have this empty space, at the end of my turn, I do refill it with the top card of the deck. Alright, that was easy. That was my turn. So what did we do here? The first thing we did in the round, we rolled the dice for the resources, placed it back on the board, and then we checked for goodies, and those are the green icons. Then you would trigger those icons in any order you'd like, and then the first player placed their friend. So I placed my friend on this spot, which can only have 1 friend on it at a time. Now I was able to gain 2 berries. Then I could play a card from this area of the board. Out of these 8 cards, I decided to take farmer. I spent 1 berry to gain this farmer. This is a critter card, so I'm 1 step closer to possibly getting this parade. And this will be worth 1 point for me at the end of the game. After I took this card, I refilled the cards here from the top of the deck. Simple. That was my turn. Now we'll go on to the AI's turn. Princess Periwinkle. So we're going to roll a die. It's a 5. So this tells you which card corresponds to the value of the die. So I'm going to be taking this card and playing it. And then I'm going to be placing the card, replacing the card with one of their friends. So one of the foxes will be in this spot. And unfortunately, this is not refilled. So that means I get a slimmer choice of cards as turns progress in the round. And that's it. Very easy to manage. That is all that Princess Periwinkle will do. It will just take up spaces of this section of cards that I could play. It's back to me. And I'm going to place my worker here. And I get to gain 2 of something. And I will actually get 2 resin. Changing my strategy, but it's okay. So I have 1 berry, 2 resin. I look at these cards. What can I get? I can get a shopkeeper, 2 berries. Lookout, 2 resin. Postal pigeon costs 2 resin. 2 berries, and sweep costs 2 berries. I'm actually looking at Lookout right now, and this is an interesting card to highlight. So when you play this game, you'll notice that this has a little spot to place your worker. So once you actually play this card by paying 2 resin, you'll be able to place it into your tableau, and as one of your actions during your turn, you can place your friend there and copy a resource die. So that's very cool. So this is going to give me also 2 points at the end of the game. So I'll pay my 2 resin, place this here, and now I have this extra space that I can place my friend and gain more resources. I will refill the spot now. Okay, Princess Periwinkle gets to go. Let's roll the die. It's a 7. is going to take this card. Okay. And then it's going to place a friend. Back to me. I'm going to place my worker on my lookout. I get to copy a resource die. So I get to copy one of these. It doesn't really matter which one unless I specifically want something else, but I will copy this. I'm going to copy and gain 2 berries. Now I have 3. So with these 3, I'm actually just going to gain the juggler. I'll spend all 3 berries and play my juggler. After you get a parade, get 2 point tokens. That's what that will do for me. Then I will replace that card. Back to Princess Periwinkle. Number 7. As you can see, 7 was already taken, so you just re-roll the die. I'm taking card 3. Replacing it with the fox. And that is a full round of my little Everdell. So at this point, after every turn, I would have been checking to see if I fulfilled any of these parades. I didn't. I only had 2 critters, so that didn't work. But yeah, I would have been checking to make sure that I didn't meet any of these, and if I did, I would just simply take it, put it on my board, and score it at the end of the game. Now, at the end of the round, is when Princess Periwinkle would be able to determine whether or not they would gain one of these parade tokens. In their case, they still do not. They only had 2 critters as well, so they wouldn't even have gained this either. So let's talk about endgame scoring. So at the end of the game, you can trade in any leftover resources you have to the supply crates for point tokens. So every 2 resources will get you 1 point token. It doesn't really matter the type. So if I happen to have 2 twigs, 1 resin, 1 berry, and an extra twig, I'll split them up into pairs, I guess. So this is going to be 1 point, 1 point, and unfortunately this twig will not get me any points. So you'll definitely want to trade your resources in for points. And then you're going to look for any purple bonus points. So we didn't get to actually play any of those cards, but you'll see the queen is one of those purple cards. So here it reads 1 point for each parade. So this is basically endgame scoring cards, and if you happen to have parades and you gain them during the game, you'll be able to gain 1 coin for them, which is pretty neat. So there'll be purple cards sprinkled throughout the deck. You'll be able to play into your tableau. After that, you're going to total all your points. So you're going to look at the points on all your cards, the points you gained after trading your resources, the points on your parade tokens, and then any point tokens you actually gained throughout the game. And then after that, you're going to also want to score for Princess Periwinkle. To score for Princess Periwinkle, it's very simple. You basically score them just like you score yourself, but what they won't have are resources. So they won't be trading any resources for points. Only I will. So I'm not sure if that's an advantage or not, but basically after you score both your points for Princess Periwinkle and yourself, you compare who has the higher score, and that's how you know you win. What's cool about the solo mode is that there are ways to make it more challenging. And so I'll just read those out right now. It says your opponent achieves parades immediately instead of at the end of the round. So that's one way you can make it more challenging. And then it says your opponent goes first every round instead of you, because right now I would be going first every round. And then lastly, to add an additional challenge, your opponent starts the game with a fort and a captain card. So that gives them an upper hand in filling out some of their tableau. So also something to note, I did not play with Prince Pumpernickel, but Prince Pumpernickel is on the other side of this card. So to play Prince Pumpernickel, basically, if any resource dice locations are open, Pumpernickel will place one of his friends on it, and if more than one is open, he will place his friend on the leftmost space. If both dice locations are blocked, the prince will send his friend to visit the berry patch for a snack. So, yeah. After placing a friend, you roll the 8-sided die to determine which card the prince will play, and then you will replace that card. So, I like that there's 2 options on how you can play the solo mode. I do think Princess Periwinkle is just more straightforward, but Prince Pumpernickel definitely will hinder you in terms of taking spots. So definitely a different strategy, I think, when you're playing with Prince Pumpernickel, because it will matter which resource spot you take. Whereas when playing with Princess Periwinkle, you always have access to the spaces on the board to gain resources. Also, something to note is multiplayer can also play with Prince Pumpernickel. So if you wanted to do a 4-player game, one being with Prince Pumpernickel, you could play with 3 players. So that's a pretty interesting twist there too. All right, well that was my how to play tutorial for 1 round of my little Everdell solo. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, let me know. But yeah, this is a fun little game. I really like it. It feels very quick. Even just the first round, probably if I didn't talk at all, could just be a few minutes long at most. So I think this really scratches my itch to play Everdell. Everdell is just a little bit more involved. Definitely takes a little bit longer to set up and play. But this is just the perfect solo mode, I think, for me, because it doesn't take up as much space as Everdell would, and the solo opponents just, they're pleasant, they're easy to manage, and yeah, let me know if you guys want to see more. I can do a playthrough of this if there's any interest, but I thought, how to play might be the most efficient way to showcase how the game is played, and also if you might like a game like this. All right. Well, as always, definitely appreciate it. If you would love to subscribe, go ahead, leave a comment, like the video. Any interaction with this video helps. But yeah, I always appreciate your support, and thank you for watching.